Children, welcome back to the class. See, in the last class, we just finished with the law of DMU and we completed with the importance of law of DMU. Next, the continuation of the law is law of equi-marginal utility. See, when we finished when we concluded the law, we had few criticisms telling that it is not based on unrealistic assumptions. In reality, all of us know that our wants are unlimited. Okay, one want is satisfied, the other want crops in automatically. Okay, this the law of DMU is applicable only for a single want commodity, but in reality we consume more number of commodities at a particular time. We don't consume only one commodity at a time, we consume more number of commodities at a time itself. So this law loses its applicability in the places where we tend to consume more than one commodity at a particular time. So economists came out with another law called as the law of equi-marginal utility. This law is also called as law of substitution or the law of consumers equilibrium. Since it was again initiated or formulated by Gusen, this law is also called as Gusen's second law. Okay, and law of maximum satisfaction. I want all of you to underline this. Okay, this law of equi-marginal utility is also called as law of substitution. It was again propounded by Gusen. Okay, it is also called as Gusen's second law. What is Gusen's first law? Law of DMU. Okay, and this law is also called as law of maximum satisfaction. Now, let us go to the definition of the law. Marshall, again this law was propounded by Marshall and it was perfected only by Marshall. If a person has a thing which he can put to several uses, he will distribute it among these uses in such a way that it has the same marginal utility in for all. Let us split the explanation and learn. Suppose if a person has a thing, what a person has, he has got money. Okay, if a person has got money, he can put that money into several uses. Which he can put to several uses. He can put the money into several uses, is it? Your dad is earning income, mom is earning. Are they putting into several uses or are they spending the money only on one particular head? No, they put it into several uses. See, for example, you are going to a hotel. Okay, you have 500 rupees with you. Okay, will you put the money on buying only one commodity and eating, or will you buy a variety of commodities and eat? Definitely we will go to the next second choice only. So let us come to the definition here. If a person has a thing which he can put to several uses, he will distribute it among these uses. He will distribute the money among the different uses where all he can spend in such a way, in such a way that he has the same marginal utility in all. So he will split the money and spend it in different uses so that he gets the same amount of utility, marginal utility, by spending in all the commodities. Okay, this we shall learn with few examples. Okay, so for it, if it had a greater marginal utility in one use than another, he would gain by taking away some of it and put it to the second. Say for examples, let me give you the hotel example itself. You have got 500 rupees with you. Okay, and you and your friend, both of you are going to a hotel, a very nice restaurant. Okay, and you are rather hungry also. Okay, you go order you order butter naan. Okay, butter naan with a very, very appetizing side dish. Okay, now again, what will be the next item you order? Will you again order the same naan and same side dish? We don't do it. What do? We again go for a fried rice. Okay, before that, what do? We order for a starter. Okay, then what do? We have starters. Okay, we cannot have a starter just like that. We want a soup also. Okay, so and after taking a different commodities, and finally you end up with what? A dessert also. So normally this is what a rational person does. Okay, he never spends his money on consuming the same commodity. Though you like naan and a very good paneer side dish, will you keep on consuming the same again and again? When you go to a hotel, we don't do it. What do? We consume different varieties of commodity so that you get the maximum satisfaction in all the commodity. Okay, in all the commodity that you consume. This you call it as law of equimarginal utility. Okay, you get equal marginal utility by consuming a soup, by consuming a starter, by consuming a non and side dish, by consuming a fried rice, and by consuming what? A final dessert also. You don't put your money only into eating one commodity. Okay, you split your money into several uses and you see that you get the best satisfaction out of that. Okay, this is understood with the help of law of equimarginal utility. I told you, whenever a law is being propounded by an economist, it will have certain assumptions. The law will hold good only under certain conditions. What are those conditions? First thing is, the consumer is a rational man. Who is a rational man? You, me, all of us, we are rational, because for the money that we spend, always what do we see? We feel that we have to get the best out of it. Okay, you give 1 rupee and you see that you see we are going to temple and we offer 10 rupees in the hundial. Okay, what do we pray? For the offer that I have given, I have to be given the best in the world. Don't we feel like that? Just by offering 10 rupees, we feel that we have to get the best out of the world. Don't we feel like that? This is rationalism. Okay, for the money that we have spent, we have to get the maximum satisfaction. Next is, utility of each commodity is measurable in cardinal numbers. Okay, utility, it is measurable according to Marshall. That is, you can give numbers for utility. Next is, marginal utility of money remains constant, which means, okay, when your income, as you earn more and more, the marginal utility should not come down. Okay, it should remain same only. The marginal utility of money should remain constant. Income of the consumer should not change. Okay, next is there is perfect competition in the market, which means, okay, uniform price prevails in the market. That is what is the meaning of perfect competition. If the price of naan is 30 rupees, 30 rupees should be the price of first naan, third naan or fifth naan. Okay, next is the price of commodities are given already. Next is the law of DMU, diminishing marginal utility, operates, which means when you consume again and again the same commodity, what will happen? You will get bored of consuming. So, the law of DMU is in operation. So, we don't go for a single commodity. Okay, we go for a variety of commodities. So, these are the 7 assumptions under law of equimarginal utility. Now, let us go to the explanation. The law is explained with the help of an example. Suppose a consumer wants to spend his limited income on apple and orange. I gave you the apple example of what? Paneer side dish, desserts and starters and all. Here, apple and oranges are taken in as an example for illustration. He is said to be in equilibrium only when he gets maximum satisfaction with his limited income. Here, it is believed that a person should consume apples and oranges. Okay, the number of apples and the number of oranges, he has got only limited income. Okay, according to this example, the money that you have with you is 14 rupees. Okay, the money that you have with you is how much rupees? 14 rupees only you have. Okay, the price of one apple is 2 rupees. The price of one orange is 1 rupee. Okay, you have to buy oranges and apples. Okay, in such a way that the number of apples that you bought, the marginal utility of that and the marginal utility of the oranges should be equal. At whichever point the marginal utility of apples and oranges are equal, that point is said to be the ideal point or maximum satisfaction level. Okay, now let us understand how to arrive at the marginal utility of apple and oranges. Here you have the formula here. To arrive at marginal utility of apple, that is MUA, that is marginal utility subscript A. It is found out by marginal utility of apple divided by price of apple. Marginal utility of orange, MUO, is found out by marginal utility of orange divided by price of orange. This is marginal utility per unit, okay, which is equal to K. K is the constant value. Next is, see, that is the marginal utility, at that particular number of apple and oranges, the marginal utility should be K for both. Okay, according to the given example, let me take you to the table itself so that it would be easy for you to understand rather than going with the formula. Just underline the formula, you need to understand the formula. See, let me take apple first here. When you consume 1 unit of apple, total utility is 25, MU is 25. Second apple, 45, MU is how much? 45 minus 25, it is 20. Okay, when you consume third unit of apple, when you buy third unit of apple, total utility is 63, margin utility is how much? 63 minus 45, it is 18. Okay, it is not given there in the book, please understand that. Okay, when you consume fifth apple, your total utility is 88, margin utility is 88 minus 78, which is 10. So, at 6, 92 and 4, 92 minus 88. Next is, what is the marginal utility per apple? Okay, it is obtained by MUA divided by PA, that is 25 divided by 2. What is the price of apple? It is 2. Okay, so 25 divided by 2, it is 12.5, 20 divided by 2, it is 10, 18 by 2. So, likewise, you get the values of MUA divided by PA, which means, okay, the marginal utility spent on per unit of apple. Next columns tells you the at the consumption or at the purchase of oranges. Okay, when you buy one orange, the total utility is 30, MU is 30. At the consumption of 41st orange, it is 11. For total utility is second orange, the total utility is 41, margin utility is 11, that is 41 minus 30. Just observe this, the MU keeps on falling down with oranges as well as with apples. The margin utility, it keeps on falling, that is from 25, 20, 18, 15, 10, 4. Likewise, here also, it keeps on falling. Just look into the total utility, it keeps on increasing only. Now, how to arrive at the margin utility per unit of orange? That is MUO divided by PO, which is, what is the price of orange? I told you it is 1 rupee. 30 divided by 1, likewise you get 30, 11, 8, 5, 4. Now, let us see, I cannot just zoom and show you in the picture here. Okay, just have your book also beside you. Okay, now here when you observe, when you consume fifth apple, your marginal utility of money of apple is 5. That is 10 divided by 2, it is 5. Likewise, when you consume fourth unit of orange, your MU of orange divided by price of orange is 5, which means with 14 rupees in your hand, okay, when you buy 5 units of apples, that is 5 into 2, it is 10 rupees. Okay, and remaining how much you have? 4 rupees, and you buy 4 units of orange, 4 into 1 is 4. Okay, you get the margin, you equal same level of margin utility, which means when you consume 5 apples, your satisfaction margin utility is 5. When you consume 4 oranges, your margin utility is 5 again. At the intersection of the marginal utility of apples and oranges, there lies your maximum satisfaction. Okay, with the money, with your limited money of 11 rupees with you, you get the maximum satisfaction when you consume 5 units of apples and 4 units of oranges. Just look into the diagram here. The units of apples and oranges are given. Okay, and in the y-axis, margin utility of apple is taken, and simultaneously in the second graph, margin utility of oranges are given. Or I told you the MU keeps on falling down. That is the reason why this red color MU curve is falling in both the cases. Okay, now where at the point 5, it is not clearly mentioned here. At 5 only, when the margin utility is 5, which means the parallel line to the x-axis, at that particular point where A1, which is marginal utility of apples, is equal to B1, that is margin utility by consuming oranges, is equal at 5. That means, okay, when you are consuming OA units of apple, here it is 5, and OB1 units of oranges, here it is 4. The consumer gets the maximum amount of satisfaction. Okay, the illustration is given here. it is whatever I have told you is only given here, the explanation part. Okay, the law can be illustrated with the help of table 2.2. We assume that what is the given amount of money with us? 14. We want to spend the entire amount of 14 on apples and oranges. Price of apple is given to be 2 and orange is given to be 1. So, what will happen if a consumer wants to attain maximum satisfaction? He should buy how many units of apples? 5 units of apples and 4 units of oranges, so that he can get how much total utility? 142 utility he will be getting. That will be the maximum utility, or with this combination of 5 apples and 4 oranges. Whatever other combinations you take, okay, your utility will be less, or else the money that you have to spend will be on the higher side. Okay, what is the money that we have here? Only 14 rupees we have. With that we need to spend money. Diagrammatic illustration is whatever I have told you is given here as a illustration. Criticism. In reality, can we measure utility? It is not possible. That is one of the biggest criticism. You can only feel utility. You can only feel the satisfaction. Again, this law is not applicable for durable goods. Okay, for durable, it is applicable only for what? Perishable commodities, where the utility could be felt now and it will be forgotten after few minutes. Okay, see, will you ever think of think of your satisfaction that you got while eating a very, very delicious side dish 10 days back? Now you will never feel that happiness. Okay, so this law is only applicable for perishable commodities, okay, which gives utility to that at that particular moment. For durable commodities, this law is not applicable. Okay, now with this we are finishing the law of equimarginal utility. Since the time is just 16 minutes is over, I cannot go to the next topic of consumer surplus. Rather, I would go for another topic which is a little easy to understand and which I can finish in 10 minutes. Okay, determinants of demand. Okay, determinants of demand. Why do you demand a commodity more or less? Okay, demand is more so dependent on what? Okay, price of commodity. Okay, demand depends upon what? The price of commodity. And apart from that, the other determinants of demand, okay, when the price falls, normally we buy more of a commodity. When the price rises, normally we buy less of a commodity. So, price is one of the important determinants of demand. And when we think of the other determinants of demand, okay, what are the other determinants of demand? When you see, when our taste and fashion changes, okay, we start demanding such goods according to the changes in our taste and fashions. Okay, see, few years before, during the time of your mother's age, okay, now when you go to college, okay, you will be wearing the outfits which are suitable, which are fashion for this contemporary world. Okay, when you take your parents as an example, what sort of dress they would have worn for their during their college days? That depends on the fashion which has existed during that particular period. So, as our taste and fashion changes, we start demanding goods accordingly. Okay, so we demand the goods and services according to the changes which are happening in the society, or according to our taste rather. Okay, again, changes in weather. Normally during the summer season, okay, what do we prefer to have? We prefer to have all chill items more because of the weather condition. During the winter season, we prefer to have all hot beverages only. So, the change in the weather also will decide, okay, the demand for the product. So, the demand for ice creams will be very less during the winter season, during the rainy season. Okay, but whereas the demand for ice creams will be at the peak during the summer season. Okay, now what is the demand for? The demand for mask is only on the higher side. Next is taxation and subsidy. So, for taxation, tax is the amount which is a compulsory payment which is made by the taxpayer to the government. For example, if the tax for a particular commodity is increased, what will happen to the price of the commodity? That will also increase. When price increases, what happens to our consumption? It will automatically come down. Okay, so tax will decide the price. Price will in turn decide the demand for a commodity. Subsidy. Subsidy means allowance. not allowance, rebate, salugaigal. In Tamil you say salugai. Okay, when the government is giving subsidy for the production of some commodities, automatically the price will go down. The price of such commodities will go down. When price reduces, what will happen? Demand will increase. Next is change in expectations. Suppose, for example, in future, if you think that the price of any particular commodity is going to rise, okay, is going to there is going to be a very steep increase in the price, what will you do now? We will immediately go and buy more of that particular commodity and stock with us. See, you could just take the example during the time of the lockdowns, when it was initially announced during the month of April. We were very new to this term called lockdown. Okay, we have never come across the usage of this word lockdown before. Okay, now when the lockdown was announced, what did all of us do? Immediately all of us, we had a panic in our mind. Okay, what did we do? Immediately we had a feel that the commodity, we might not get milk, we might not get vegetables. So what did we do? Immediately we rushed to the shops and immediately we bought and dumped a huge amount of groceries, vegetables, milk packets, everything. Did we do it or not? Anticipating that in future we might not get the commodity, or even if we are getting, the price will be high. Okay, so expecting that we presently demand more of that commodity, because of that also demand changes. Change in savings. Okay, it is true, is it? When your income is 10,000 rupees, you spend 8,000, 2,000 you save. On the other hand, if you want to increase your savings, okay, out of this 10,000 rupees, from 2,000, if you want to increase your savings to 4,000, what will happen to your consumption money? It will automatically come to 6,000 rupees. You will have only 6,000 rupees for spending. When you have less money for spending, automatically you will demand only less commodities. So savings also will affect the demand for the commodity. Both are inversely related to each other. When you save more, okay, the amount of money you have for consumption reduces. Automatically demand reduces. So what will happen? They are inversely related to each other. Next is state of trading activity. During the period of boom and prosperity. Boom prosperity means it is a period marked by good amount of economic activities. More economic activities are there, more production is there, more employment is there, more income is there. All people have enough of money with them. This period you call it as boom period. The opposite of boom period is depression period, time of depression. During the time of depression, people will not have enough jobs, production will be stopped, unemployment will be there, people will not have income. So, previous 2-3 months we were witnessing what period? Depression period only we were witnessing. So, will we demand for more goods and service during the depression period? Definitely no. What were we doing? We were just demanding only few commodities which we were able to buy with our less income. Were we doing that? Yes. But during the time when we had enough of money, our business was very good, we had enough of profit with us, what did we do? We spent huge amount of money. So demand automatically increases. Demand increases during boom and falls during depression. Advertisement. Just imagine, will advertisement stimulate demand? Yes. Seeing the advertisements, many of us, we buy products, is it? We get to know about the availability of a product only through advertisements. As a result, okay, demand increases for the goods which are advertised more. Next is change in your income. When your income increases, what do we normally do? We normally increase our consumption. See, all these days we were just watching only in a regular LCD TV. My income has increased. What will I do? I will throw this LCD and buy a good LED TV and keep. Yes, and I will take a big home theater. So, as income increases, your consumption also increases, which means you demand more of goods and services. Next is change in population. Change in population. When your family size is 4, father, mother and 2 children. When the family size is 4, your level of consumption will be a constant amount. All of a sudden you have a guest for 1 month, you have 4 extra people at home. Now what is your population at home? 8 people. What will happen to your consumption? Automatically it will get doubled. So consumption increases as population increases. So demand for goods and services also increases. You have to buy more of rice, you have to buy more of vegetables, you have to buy more of milk. So automatically demand for goods also increases as there is change in the population, increase in population. So these are the determinants of demand, that is the factors which determines the demand. Why we buy more of a commodity or less of a commodity. First point is what? Change in taste and fashions. When your taste and preference changes, automatically you buy a different product because of the weather conditions. I told you the example of cool drinks and hot beverages. Taxes and subsidies. When tax increase, price increase. Automatically demand falls down. Subsidy. When government is giving us some subsidy, okay, what will happen? People will be motivated to do that. Automatically what happen? Production increases. When production increases, the more is the production, price is likely to come down because your cost of production is less because of the subsidy which the government has given. When price is less, automatically we demand more. Expectations. Okay, when you expect a change in the future, now the demand will increase according to the expected changes. Next is savings. Savings and demand are inversely related to each other. When savings increases, you have less money for consumption. Automatically demand reduces. State of trade activity. When during the period of boom, the demand increases. During the period of depression, the demand falls down. Advertisement. More is the advertisement, more is the demand created for the product. Next is change in income. If your income is high, automatically you demand more of a commodity. If your income falls down, you demand less of the commodity. Next is change in population. When population is high, we buy more goods and services. When population is less, we demand less goods and services only. That is all. With today's, I shall just finish today's class with this, and the homework for you will be, I want you to write law of equimarginal utility with diagram, table and diagram. Okay, children? Whenever I say any law, whatever the table and diagram which are inclusive in that is applicable. You don't expect me that I have to mention it particularly. Whenever I say about any law, if it comprises of table and diagram, that is also included. Okay, thank you children. Have a good day.